Welcome back everyone to JFace Games. Before we get into the Striker, which is actually a separate video that I recorded last night with the Defender, I want to be able to sort of make addendums real quick. Mainly because I love the feedback that I get on these videos. That's why I do it. And already with the one Defender going out, there was some feedback about caution in terms of dealing with your hit points pool is actually the pool that also powers your character. And so that got me thinking today about, okay, what else can we do? And so here we have this idea that you have these soul points and you get soul points and you're going to use those soul points to buy attributes, powers, backgrounds, feats, etc. And then some of those soul points are going to end up being your hit points in the end. So let's kind of rework that down here a little bit, okay? Let's say soul points 2.0. And let's make this also orange. Oh, this one's orange, the other one's yellow. And so now what are we gonna do with this? So in essence, starting soul points are soul points purchase. And so what do they purchase? Well, we already talked about attributes, right? We have the background, increase skill checks, right? We have powers and feats, and that's all normal. And then the idea is, yes, we're going to hit points, but maybe, and this might be just a small psychological thing, but maybe the small psychological twist is that you are now going to have two pools that you're going to put your points into. One of them is, in essence, soul points. It stays your soul points pool, which is sort of like hit points. And the other one is, I don't know, spark points. I always like the term spark or whatever. I don't like power points because it's kind of generic sounding, but maybe you have your spark, right? And so then what's going to happen is that, yes, it's the same kind of concept that, why does it matter? Because at some point in time, you're choosing which one this becomes, whether it's a soul point or a spark point. But maybe that's enough of a psychological difference that when I'm starting an encounter, if I have 30 hit points and I've got 10 spark points, now that's okay. I get that. I can understand that from a conceptual level of I can run out on these and it's not actually affecting my health. So totally get that. And maybe down the line there is a wait, how do I do this? Call out, that's right. I've been using different editors and so now it's messing me up. Maybe certain powers like a warlock style power allows you to cannibalize soul points into spark points, right? So at some point in time you could have that. If someone wants to go down that route, they can, they can do that sort of, I'm going to affect it. So that's one concept. The other thing that I thought was interesting was that, someone, I think it was Shane in the comments was talking about the fact that math, right? Maybe there's too much math going on when you're using powers. And I agree. I'm not a huge fan of those different math, calculating a ton of hit points, right? And so one is that the fact that the hit points will be probably bound, or the damage by monsters will be fairly bound, and so it'll be predictable. But the other idea is, why don't we get rid of hit points altogether, right? And so a concept that I had for like a wound system, I'm gonna put a question mark here, wound system question mark, and these will all be different options. Maybe I'll build it out so that these are different options for this beta, because I'm currently putting them in the beta section. So a wound system would be that now you have these soul points left over from above, right? These soul points here. Maybe you can use those, or you could use your soul points from the original giant pool to purchase different types of wound. All right, now hear me out here. you could have, in essence, for like, you think about fate, how they have major consequences and minor consequences, right? And then you have stress, right? So we'll just use those sort of terms for now, just because I think it's an easy term. So we'll say like stress, minor wound, major wound. Now, stress would obviously be the least expensive to purchase, minor wound would be a little bit more expensive to purchase, and major wound would be more expensive to purchase. And in essence, what you're doing with this concept would be that you are buying little spots on your character sheet that are either a major wound or a minor wound or a stress mark. And what's the benefit? What's the benefit of maybe I spend all my money to buy one major wound, or maybe I spend all my points to buy lots of little minor wounds, right? Well, the idea would be that if I have, for instance, like lots of minor wounds, we'll say a monster does small, like whenever a monster attacks, it's either going to do, it's stressing you, it's doing a minor wound, or it's doing a major wound. Like that's the only damage types that maybe a monster can do, right? Depending on the type of attack it has, who knows? We're just spitballing. Because once again, remember that the damage that heroes do versus monsters do, we're trying to base this on that 5 mechanic system where different things are mechanically designed, and so monsters might be completely different design, right? So maybe their damage is they're either doing a stress, they're stressing you out, they're doing a minor wound, or they're doing a major wound. Say I go the lots of minor wound route. What this means is that maybe that means I could absorb lots of little hits, right? But if I ever take a major wound, I don't have a place to put it. So one major wound, one major hit knocks me out, right? And maybe there's a lot of telegraphing behind what a major wound or what a major attack is, or etc. You know, like the giant ogre with the massive club, and you see he's holding it two-handed and he's winding up. You can tell that if that hits, I'm in trouble, right? So maybe there's some telegraphing there. Also, maybe there's some powers that allow you to turn a major wound into a minor wound, like on the attack, like a defensive block allows you to change a major to a minor, or some sort of leadership ability that, you know, reactionary, I turn that major into a minor. But now you know, oh crap, if I get hit again by this monster, I'm dead, right? Or I'm taken out. So lots of minor wounds equates to can take a lot of small hits, but one big hit is an issue, right? And then the other example might be like, well, what if I just buy one major, no minors? What does that look like? What I thought might be interesting is maybe if you have an open slot for a higher wound type, then other smaller wounds don't affect you, right? Meaning that if I have a minor wound that has not been checked yet, stress doesn't ever affect me, right? If I have one major wound spot, minor wounds and stress don't affect me. The issue being that if I ever take a major wound, now once I've taken that one major wound, anything else done to me is going to knock me out, right? Because I only was able to deal with this one major event. Now I can't deal with small stresses. So that person could wade into, say, like tons of little goblins because all the minor stuff doesn't really affect them. But one major one, you know, after that one major one, then anything can affect them, right? So I don't know, I'm spitballing here. I think that there's something to be said about some sort of system that you are buying the different types of wound types you want, and that's sort of tailoring and creating the flavor of the character you're going to have, right? And then you're taking powers and feats to hopefully mitigate the other types of wounds. So that's the idea right now. Those are the two sort of like retcons. I'm going to go ahead and post the Striker beta video, and you can watch that. Just keeping in mind now that this might be a part of the future. We'll see. Thanks, guys.